Elapsed time, time differences. Now, I'm feeling confident right now, even though it's getting late and I'm feeling tired. I'm feeling confident with this because it is within 60 minutes. It is a lot easier to add and subtract within time differences when you are staying within the hour. It's a lot more difficult when you start going between hours, and that is a later video, probably when we start working on 4th grade. So let's talk about time differences. Look at the time on the following clocks. How much time has passed from the first clock to the second clock? Now, this is testing multiple skills at once, and this is a perfect example of the foundational nature of mathematics education. If a student doesn't know how to tell time, it is pointless to put this problem in front of them. If they haven't figured out the last thing, they should be and must be given the time and the resources to finish understanding that before you try to throw this in front of them, because this is impossible. This is an impossible problem if the student doesn't know how to read a clock in the first place. So what do we have here? I see 6:25. And I see that 5:40. And I was wrong on that first one. That's 5:25, not 6:25. Yeah, there we go. 5:25 to 5:40. Yeah, thank you, Silver Key. Absolutely. Thank you for keeping me honest about this. So because the difference is within 5 minutes, or between 60 minutes, it's as easy as 40 minutes, the end time, minus 25 minutes, the beginning time. The 5s cancel out, right? 5 hours minus 5 hours is 0. We end up with 15 minutes. 15 minutes has elapsed from 5:25 to 5:40. But again, there's a lot going on in this problem. There are a lot of places to get tripped up. So if you have a problem like this, you're going to have to be very patient with yourself. And if your student has a problem like this, you are going to have to be very patient with them. You might end up having to be very patient with me if I have a hard time with this. Because again, this is not a skill I flex very often because I have digital clocks all over everything, just like everyone else. We've got what 2 times here? I see the bottom one being 7:19. And I see the top one being 6:26. Yeah? 7:19, 6:26. Okay. So again, subtraction, but weird subtraction, right? We're going to take essentially 7 hours and 19 minutes, and we're going to take away 6 hours and 26 minutes. Yeah? That's the idea. That's the math. That's the subtraction we're doing. But we're doing it in such a weird way because when we go to borrow, right, because 19 is smaller than 26, so we can't subtract this as is, right? We have to borrow. But this isn't like your normal average borrowing. We're not borrowing 10 because that's not how hours and minutes work. Instead, we're going to cross out the 7 hours and replace it with 6, just like we normally do when borrowing. But because we're talking about minutes, we actually get 60 of them, right? Hours and minutes. So instead of 19, we have 79. 6 hours and 79 minutes is the same thing as 7 hours and 19 minutes. I don't know if this is the way that Khan Academy has in mind for doing this. This is the way I think about it. The hours cancel out as usual, 6 minus 6, that's fine. Let's see. 79 minus 26. Well, 80 minus 26 would be... Actually, no, let's just do it directly. 7 minus 2 is 5, 9 minus 6 is 3. That is 53 minutes, my friends. I suspect that there was an easier way to do that. I suspect that the easier way to do that was to notice that it was 1 hour and then less 7 minutes. Ooh, not that side though. If you could have noticed right at the beginning that it actually went backwards 7 minutes, that's the same thing as going forwards 53 minutes. And that's another piece of critical thinking that is so important to get early on. The idea that, yes, the minute hand comes back to the same spot every single hour. Either way, 53 minutes is the amount of time that passed. There are lots of correct ways to think about this, and this is why I think telling time is still, if nothing else, a very important educational tool. And I'm willing to acknowledge that it might be nothing else. Look at the time. We want 27 minutes later. So that's a half an hour later, but then 3 less than that. So let's zoom in and look at what that might look like. I'm not even going to look at the answer yet. So 27 minutes later. Well, I know that if it was 30 minutes later, it would be straight on the other side. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this one right here. That's 30 minutes. But we don't want 30 minutes, we want 27 minutes, so we're going to subtract 1, 2, 3. And I see, where are we at? Is that 10? So that would be 11:09. It's currently coming up on 11. I think we see 11:09. I am not 100% confident in this answer. I'm pretty confident in my approach. I'm just not sure I drew a straight line across. We're about to find out. 11:09 is my thought. Oh, good. It's multiple choice. There's 11:09. Beautiful. Always nice to have your answer validated by what you didn't expect to be a multiple choice question. We've got 2 clocks. We want to know how much time has passed. It looks like it's gone from not quite 9 to not quite 9. So it ended at 54. Let me just go ahead and write that down. And it started at 35, 36, 37. Now, here's the confusing bit. Because we are not dealing with hours and minutes, we're just dealing with minutes, borrowing works like normal. I'm glad that we have this, because now we do the normal type of borrowing. Because within minutes, so long as we're just dealing with minutes, we don't have to deal with any of the 60 nonsense, right? That 60 is when we have to change hours into minutes. Minutes themselves, we can continue adding if we wanted, right? You can have 75 minutes, but if you want to change that into hours, you have to do it in 60s, is the idea. So we end up with 17 minutes. I'm doing a quick sanity check, which means going to here and adding 17 minutes. Let me go ahead and erase this work and say, okay, well, what would happen if I added 17 minutes? Well, that would be 1, 2, 3, and 5 is 8, and 5 is 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Yep, it would indeed be right where it's supposed to be. Do not be afraid to double check your work, but also don't get frozen. Be confident. The worst thing that happens is you get the answer wrong and you can try again.